So welcome. So thank you also for honoring us and joining this session. So we are a consulting firm. So we are Global Touch Nursing Consultancy. So it is just a consulting firm. It is not like like an agency or something like that. So we are just a consulting firm where we assist our nurses to get better opportunities and also to ensure that they go through the process of taking their NCLEX exams smoothly. So my name is Ruth Modoni Nganga. I'm a registered nurse and I'm also an NCLEX tutor. So I have two other partners with me for the firm, but they're not able to join us at this moment. So our contact number is 0724 945 147. It is quite important for me to say that at the beginning of the session so that when you access the recording, you can be able to get it as soon as you can. So we are going to go through our process in becoming internationally accredited as a nurse, and this is going to be the start of your journey for you to become a nurse who can be able to work in USA, in Australia, and also in Canada. So I am going to have my video muted for the sake of you concentrating on the screen, and then I'm going to unmute it later. So the first thing that we do for the nurses is actually to open for them an account we call the True Merit account. And this is for that nurse who is actually desiring to work in the US, Canada, and Australia. So the first thing is for you to get an account that we call the True Merit account. Formerly, it was CGFNS, that is Commission on Graduates of Foreign Educated Nurses. I know that one is very popular, but they changed their names like 4 months ago to True Merit, and now we are using the True Merit. So it is the same, but now they just changed their name for the purpose of ensuring they don't only deal with the nurses, but they can be able to deal with other professionals. As you look at the CGFNS, it is only for the foreign educated nurses. So for them to be able to broaden their services, they had to change their name. So the True Merit account is one of the most important accounts for you to open if you desire to work in the US, Canada, and Australia. And the True Merit is actually an organization that evaluates credential for nurses and other healthcare professionals. So this True Merit is an immigration neutral nonprofit organization that helps the foreign educated healthcare professionals, and the CGFNS help nurses to immigrate to the US by evaluating their credentials for visa screen process and also for licensure. So opening the CGFNS account is actually absolutely free. So you don't need to pay any fees for you to be able to open the CGFNS account or the True Merit account. You just come in with your details. That is your names and your license numbers, your passport numbers and all that, and you fill into the account. You also fill in your employment, your professional education, and also the general education. So also the licenses, you also fill them to the True Merit account. So the first thing is to create the account, and that is what I've been talking about. And the key process in this program is creating now the True Merit account for all the nurses. So what is the requirement for you to become or to start the process? What do you require? So you don't require so much. You just require your license to be active. Actually, you don't need your passport for the first times you're in this process. So you just need your license to be active. So when you talk about active license, it is active license for registered nurses and not the enrolled nurses. So if you're an enrolled nurse, you might require to upgrade to a registered nurse so that you can be able to fit into this program. So the key process in the program is creating this account, and the requirement is an active and restricted nursing license from your country. So when you talk about unrestricted nursing license, there are those people who commit crimes in their workplaces and they end up having their licenses being restricted by the Board of Nursing in their country. So it has to be unrestricted and it has to be active. So you have the ability to provide the personal information. You don't have to be that person who don't want to provide their date of birth anywhere, or maybe in the portals, because the portal is going to request you for your personal information. So you also need to have a valid identity document from your country. So that one can be the passport, but you're going to require the passport later in this process. So for you to start, you just need your active and restricted nursing license from your country. So you also need to have the correct corresponding names in all your documents. So we've had challenges with people who maybe have been using different names. Maybe when they were in primary school, they used a different name. When they were in high school, they used different names. And then when they're in college, they used maybe the name they used in high school. But then after that, they got married, so they changed their names. So that one, they have to have the correct and the corresponding names in all your documents. So this is because we don't want to have a lot of trouble. When it comes to the developed countries, most of them, so they cannot agree you saying that I am Ruth Nganga, and yet some of my documents are saying I'm Ruth Modoni Nganga. They won't agree to that. So it is very important you have the correct corresponding names in all your documents. So the second thing now is that now we are going to require now to start the process. And here, because you've decided that you want to become internationally accredited, then now we have to request for a credential evaluation from the True Merit. So this is basically what we are looking for in the True Merit account. We want to order something we call the credential evaluation service. So this is the second part, ordering the required service, and we require the first service as the credential evaluation service. So this is where now the fees comes in. So the first service required for you to order is the credential evaluation service, and this service is going to cost you 485 US dollars. So the 485 US dollars is around 64 to 68,000 Kenya shillings. For the most people that have paid for, it has deducted around 67,000 to 68 Kenya shillings. So it also depends with the dollar rate and also the bank that you're using. So you can also use the Visa card from any bank to pay, and also you can use the M-Pesa Global Visa card. So it is very easy to make this payment. We just go there, we assist you to order, and then you're able to make the payment. So the credential evaluation is very important as it equates the nursing education gained in your country to that in the USA to ensure you have covered all the hours in terms of theory and experience. So what we want here is just for us to be able to compare your nursing education and your nursing license so that we are sure you've covered all the hours that that nurse in the US has covered, and therefore you can be able to work in their country. So after the payment of these fees to the True Merit account, we are going to get automatically, the True Merit is going to give us forms for us now to start the verification of documents. It is also now going to allow us to do the uploading of our documents. So now we have the forms for verification, and therefore we go to a school of nursing. If you're maybe you studied at the university, you go to the university. If it was a college, you go to the college with the form, and then they are going to verify the documents. So you also go to the board of nursing in your country. So for instance, in Kenya, you go to the Nursing Council of Kenya, and therefore they are going to send your license to the True Merit. So this process of document verification is going to take you around 14 days. So it takes 2 to 3 months for the CGFNS to provide the students and the Board of Nursing with the report. So what happens when you are creating the account, the True Merit account, you also choose the Board of Nursing in the US that you are going to register with, so that when the report is produced, it is sent to the Board of Nursing, and it is also sent to our portal. So when it comes to the Board of Nursing, it is important that you choose the board that is not going to give you a lot of complications. So the student is required to open an account with the Board of Nursing of their choice in the USA or any other part of the country you wish to work in, for instance, in Canada and also in Australia. So you have to adhere to all the requirements of the board, and you need also to understand their rules and regulations. For instance, with Texas Board of Nursing, you're required to do an exam. So the attempts are unlimited. So you have to understand the regulations of the board. So each board has its own set standards that you need to adhere to be able to license with them. For instance, if you choose Minnesota Board of Nursing, then you're going to be required to do the IELTS or the English exam so that they can be able to allow you to take the NCLEX exam. So other boards, they are also very expensive boards like California Board of Nursing. It is going to cost you around 300 US dollars. And also we have some other boards that are quite cheaper, like Texas Board of Nursing, that is going to cost you only 75 USD. So you have to look at your financial implication, and also you look at how prepared you are. If you have the IELTS, then you can be able to choose the Minnesota Board of Nursing. So one thing about the Texas Board of Nursing, it has been a very good board that we've been using, but now it has a requirement that if you miss any hour, because sometimes you might find that the college missed some hours when they are sending your report or your transcript to the through merit. So if you miss an hour with Texas Board of Nursing, they're not going to agree for you. They're saying these hours I covered here and there. So you have to go back to the true merit, and then you have to request for the hours to be added. So for you to go back to the true merit, it means that you have to pay some more money, which is not little money. It is $295, which is around 35,000. So I really want the nurses to choose the boards that they are comfortable with, and also the boards that don't have a lot of complications. For instance, we are doing well with the New Mexico Board of Nursing and also the Montana Board of Nursing. So you can choose any of them, but we are here to guide you and ensure that you choose the correct board. So the other thing the board is going to request you to do is a background check. So they have to be sure you're not a criminal in your country. So once the board account is ready, because we received the report from the True Merit and it was also sent to the board. So we go ahead, we open an account with the Board of Nursing and pay the board. So now we are going to be requested to send our fingerprint cards to the board for investigation. And mostly we are not going to send it directly to the board. They are going to give you an address of the FBI that is close to them. So once you send, so they evaluate, they see that you're not a criminal in your country, and then now they allow you to do the exams. One of the mandate of the Board of Nursing is to protect the people in that particular state. So they have to protect their people from any crime or any criminal, and therefore they have to do a background check on you. So this ensures that the board does not license anyone with a criminal record in their country. So the State Board of Nursing is very keen, as their mandate is to safeguard the rights of the people in that particular state. The processing of the fingerprint cards take a period of 1 to 2 weeks, and the board sensitizes the Pearson view that the student is eligible and qualified to take the NCLEX. So once the board clears you, you just go ahead now and you book the exam. So we have the fingerprint cards in the market. You can get them, and now you're going to send these cards to where the board requests you to send them, and you're going to send them via DHL. So the process of the Board of Nursing, opening the account with the Board of Nursing and also the fingerprint cards, it is going to cost you around 25,000 Kenya shillings. So that is around 250 dollars. Yes. So we go to step 6, and then I'm going to give you some time. You ask some few questions as we continue. So here now, we are ready now for the exam. So we have to open an account we call the Pearson View account. And because I know most of us here are Kenyans, the Pearson View is like an examining body, like NEC. You see, NEC gives a lot of exams. It gives exams for high school. It also gives exam for different professionals. So the Pearson View also, it is a body that is going to provide a lot of the exams. It gives the CBT for nurses who are going to the UK, and it also offers the NCLEX exam. So this account is very important, and it is important in the application of the authority to test. And here we pay for the exam fee, which is 200 US dollars. So one cannot make an appointment until they receive an ATT form. So once you pay $200 to the Pearson View, they are going to sensitize the board that this person has paid this amount and we need you to send them the authority to test. So they work hand in hand with the board of nursing. So the board of nursing is now going to send you the authority to test. I know the authority to test is a very, very common name. It is usually, they usually call it the ATT. So you cannot be able to make an appointment until you receive the ATT form. So until the board clears you. So if you had not done the fingerprint card, they are not going to provide the ATT. So you will just pay the 200, you wait, and you're wondering what is happening. Maybe the fingerprint cards did not get to where they were supposed to be. So you also have now to get, you're now going to get the ATT. And once you get the ATT or the authority to test, you have 75 days for you to book the exam. So for you to come and open the account with the Pearson VUE, I usually request the students to be ready for the exam because once the ATT is sent, you don't have time. You just have 75 days to book the exam. So what happens, you go back to the Pearson VUE account and then now you pay $150 and this is for the exam center and these are for the 5 hours you're going to be there in the exam center. So a total of 350 USD to the Pearson VUE account. Are we together? Okay, hope we are. So the ATT forms contains important information, including your test authorization number, the candidate identification number, and the validity date. So you need to take your ATT form to the testing center on the day of your examination. You will not be admitted to the examination center without the ATT and the identification document. So here, you really need to have the passport now with you. So if you don't have the passport, you don't book the exam until you have the passport. So right now, we have the Pearson VUE Center that opened in 11th of July last year, and it is working very well. And you can be able to go there. That is in Nairobi, Westlands, the principal place, and you take your NCLEX exam. So it is a center that is working. It is an international center receiving nurses from all over Africa, and therefore even you cannot go there with your Kenyan ID. You have to go there with your passport because it is an international center. So we have other verification organizations, the Joseph and Cindy and Associate International and the National Nurses Assessment Service, exclusive for Canada. Then we have the WES, the World Education Service, providing credential evaluation for students and immigrants from countries around the world who are planning to study and work in the United States and Canada. And also we have the Alliance for Credential Evaluation Service for Canada. So we are going to see why we are using the True Merit. And at this point, let me get some few questions so that we don't get lost on the way. Agatha, any question? So we are good? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so and you don't have any question? We can continue. Okay, it's all right. So also, where do we take the fingerprints? Thank you. Thank you for that question. So for the fingerprint cards, like I think where do we take them? So most of the time you're going to have the cards, they are going to be easily provided for you. So if you have maybe a challenge, you can also contact us. We're going to assist you. But one thing, you can go to the Huduma Center and get someone take you the fingerprint cards from there. And also you can go to the DCI. So that is Director of Criminal Investigation. And they can also be able to assist you take the fingerprint card. So you don't take the fingerprints yourself. Also, you have to fill the card very well. And then from there, so we are going to have paid. Mostly they use the Identical, which is maybe an area or they use also the FBI. So they are going to give you an address where you're going to send these fingerprint cards. So the address is going to be provided for you by the Board of Nursing. So you just now take the cards. You also have to fill the form, and you fill the form and you sign. And then from there, they are going to you're going to send them to the address that is provided by the Board of Nursing. I hope I've answered your question. So if it is not sufficient, maybe you can be able to rephrase it and I'm going to answer it again. So if you find you have a question that maybe you think you'll forget, just have it on the chat box. I'm going to answer all of them. So yes. Okay, let us see why we are using the True Merit. So the CTFNS provides many services, and this includes the visa screen. So we are saying the CGFNS or the True Merit, it is able to provide many services, and these services include the visa screen certificate that you might not get with other institutions. So, for instance, we've talked about so many organizations that are doing the verification. So, for instance, you used the Joseph and Cindy and Associate International. So, you'll still come back to the CGFNS when you need the visa screen. So, to avoid all this, I prefer the True Merit because it is able to offer a variety of services. By the time you finish taking your NCLEX exam, you're going to start on the immigration, and when you start on the immigration, you're going to require a visa screen certificate that you might only get from the CGFNS. So they also do the verification of the IELTS, the English proficiency test. So it works very well, and it is able to provide variety of the services. So we have gone through the steps, and we've come to a point where we have also booked the exam, and we are ready to take our NCLEX exam. So we are going to go to the testing center. Unless you want maybe to go to South Africa or India for adventure, you can use the testing center that you have in Nairobi, Kenya. That is in Westlands, the principal place, and it is adequate, and it is also receiving international students. So what happens in the testing center? The testing center is designed to ensure complete security of the testing process, and we have strict candidate identification requirements that has been established. So you will be asked to read the rules related to the testing, and a digital fingerprint and a palm vein print will be taken of you. So a digital signature, a photograph will also be taken at the testing center so that they can be sure whoever presented themselves in this center is actually the person who is supposed to do the exam. The identity confirmation will accompany the exam or the NCLEX exam results. So you also have the ATT. They are going to have to counter check it. They are going to counter check with your passport. They're also going to counter check with whatever you have in the Pearson view, just to ensure that whoever is taking the exam is you. So if you leave the testing room for any reason, so don't worry about the testing room and wondering how it looks like. It looks like the smartest cyber that you know around your area. However, it is fitted with cameras and audio so that it can be able to capture the voices, and also it can capture everything that is going on in the room. So if you leave the testing room for any reason, you may be required to perform these identity confirmation procedures again to be readmitted to the room. So if you leave the testing room for any reason, maybe you want to go to the washroom, then you'll have to confirm, you have to perform the identity confirmation procedures again for you to be readmitted to the room. Personal belongings are not allowed in the testing room. So we have an area where you're going to leave your personal belongings. All electronic devices must be placed in a sealable bag that is provided by the test administrator and kept in a locker. Any evidence of tampering with the bag could result in the need to perform the incident, and the test cancellation can occur. So also very important, you see the bangles that you really wear, like maybe the ones for Kenya and everything. it is important that if you're going to take the exam, you just remove them, because the administrator might just think, or somebody who is who will be watching the audio or the video will think that maybe it is something that is electronic. So it is just good for you to leave it. A locker and a locker key will be provided for you. So the testing center will not assume responsibility for your personal belongings. So you're going to be given a locker key, and the testing waiting areas are generally small. So now that you're here in Kenya, you might have friends and family members who want to take you there. So they can be left outside very far from the testing center, but they're not going to be allowed into the testing center. So once you have completed the admission process, the test administrator is going to escort you to your assigned computer. You'll be seated at an individual workplace, and that includes computer equipment, appropriate lighting, an erasable notebook, and a marker. So no items, including unauthorized scratch paper, are allowed into the testing room. Eating, drinking, or use of tobacco is not allowed in the testing room. So you will be observed at all times by the test administrator while taking the examination, and a video and audio recording for all the test sessions are made. So there is no way you'll say that maybe something happened, because we have the audio and also we have the video recording. So the testing center has no control over the sound made by the typing on the computer by others. So if these sounds are distracting, then you have to raise your hand and to summon the test administrator, and earplugs are available on request. So you must follow the directions given by the testing center staff, and you must remain seated during the test except when authorized to leave. So if you want to leave for any reason, then you must raise your hand. So also, you're always going to have the earplugs with you, because you can have questions that require you to listen to some sounds so that you can be able to identify and give the answer. So earplugs are always going to be provided for you. How about the testing time? The maximum testing time is 5 hours. So this is the maximum, and all breaks are optional. The first optional break will be offered 2 hours of the testing, and this break is going to be offered by the computer. The computer will tell you, do you want to go for a break? You say yes or no. So it is not going to be offered any earlier than 2 hours. So it is going to be offered after 2 hours. The second break is also available, and it is also optional. Remember that all breaks count against time. If you take a break, you must leave the testing room and you must return. And when you return, you'll be required to perform the identity confirmation procedures to be readmitted back to the room. So the time that is the 5 hours, it counts even when you are on break. So if you go for a break for 30 minutes, you have 4 hours, 30 minutes for the exam. So it counts together. So the testing length, you're going to have a minimum number of 85 questions with the new generation NCLEX. Previously, they used to take 75 questions, but now you're going to have a minimum of 85 and a maximum of 150 questions. So you have to be in control. You have to ensure that you study, and also you have to have a strong positive attitude. So why is it important for us to prepare for the NCLEX exam? I know maybe you've had people failing the exam, and they are nurses, they have been working. So this is because the NCLEX exam is not like just the exam that you did in the nursing school. So what is the aspect? What is the focus? What did you do in the nursing school, and what is different for the NCLEX? So when you look at the focus, we are going to have, when you are in the nursing school, you are able to look at the detailed textbook knowledge, the standard protocols, and the procedures. But for the NCLEX, it requires to do a lot of critical thinking and decision making in the real world scenario. So the NCLEX will ask you something that you're going to get in the real world, or whatever happens in the clinical area. For instance, so let me just give an example. You found, maybe you entered into a room and you found the client who was on an ECG monitor is not, or you found that the ECG monitor is on asystole. So asystole means the client is not breathing, the client is not having a pulse. So what do you do first? You always now stop focusing on the monitor, but now you look at your client. How is the client? So the NCLEX would like you to do the assessment rather than now starting to identify the rhythm and starting to treat the rhythm, because now you usually assess the patient every other time you find maybe something is wrong. You usually look at the patient, how is the patient, but now the NCLEX now would like you to do the assessment rather than now focusing on the other big things that you're going to think about. So the question style, in the nursing school, typically we have direct recall of facts or procedures. But now when it comes to the NCLEX, they are scenario-based questions requiring application of theoretical knowledge and complex patient care situations. So that is what happens when it comes to the NCLEX. Then we have prioritization. And this one, in the nursing school, we had to focus on memorizing steps and procedures. When it comes to the NCLEX, you have to focus on prioritizing patient care based on the urgency and the clinical situation. So which patient needs attention first? You have to really prioritize that. Then you have the critical thinking. In the nursing school, we used to emphasize on the role learning and step-by-step procedure execution. But now when it comes to NCLEX, you have to emphasize on evaluating and analyzing situations to make informed decisions. Then we have the nursing process application. In the nursing school, you had to learn protocols and procedures for each phase of the nursing process. When it comes to the NCLEX, you have to apply the nursing process: assessment first, diagnosis, planning, implementation, and evaluation in dynamic patient care scenarios. Then we have the patient care management. In the nursing school, we used to focus on learning what to do for specific conditions and procedures. But when it comes to the NCLEX, we have to emphasize on recognizing the signs of complications, understanding interventions, and evaluating effectiveness in the real-time care. So, for instance, when it comes to the patient care, when maybe a child comes with drooling and they are assuming a 3-point position, in the NCLEX, you're supposed to make a diagnosis. When it comes to the nursing school, you have now to start thinking this sign is for this and this. So you have to be sure of the classical sign when it comes to the NCLEX. Then we have complication and interventions. Memorizing of common complications and the steps to take is what we used to do in the nursing school. But now in the NCLEX, you have to understand how to identify and address the complications early, such as infections or metabolic imbalances in the parenteral nutrition. So you have to identify, you have to act, and you also have to prioritize the right patient so that you save their lives. So the NCLEX is applicable, and it is going to test on what usually happens in the clinical area. The NCLEX is very practical. It is there will be no area where you will be saying that the NCLEX says this, but when it comes to the clinical setting, we do this. So that is not going to happen with the NCLEX. It will always be what you learn is what you're supposed to do. So sometimes you get that when you've gone through the nursing school, when you go to the clinical areas, you're actually shocked. This is because mostly in our countries, we don't keep reviewing our curriculums, we don't keep reviewing our patient care. But when it comes to the NCLEX, whatever we learn is exactly what you're supposed to do. Any question? So what are we going to assist you with is the global touch. We are going to ensure that your dream becomes a reality. So we commit to ensure we work with you every step of the way. And despite the many challenges that you're going to face on the way, you're going to focus beyond the challenge with you and make it happen. Ensure that you achieve your dream, you pass the NCLEX, and you get an employer. So we have several services that we offer, and one of them is now the total guide, right from the beginning to the end of the process until we onboard you to the employer. So when you talk about the guiding you, this is going to be able to occur in that nurse who doesn't want to be affiliated to agencies. So if you want to do this independently, and usually I really encourage nurses to do this independently because we are not where we were last year, but one or last year. This is because we have the NCLEX Center in Nairobi. So you're saving a lot of money that you could have used for the flight fee. You could have used a total of maybe 150,000 for the flight fee to South Africa or to India. So right now, we are not using all that money. So the total amount you're going to spend when it comes to this process is not as much as we used to spend. So we are going to guide you through the process, and guiding you through the process ensures that we help you open the account. So you see, I've talked about so many accounts until I know that some of you have lost track on what you're supposed to do. So we guide you through all that. The second thing that we do is that we have a tutorial program, and this tutorial program is going to run for 3 months. Immediately you start this process, you're supposed to start preparing for the NCLEX exam, because that is what we're looking for you to do. So we are going to have the tutorial program with you, and our tutorial program takes 3 months. So for the 3 months, we are going to, okay, Millie, I'll come back to that for the total cost. I will have a slide on that. Thank you. So for the, we are saying for our classes, we start our classes very early in the morning. Actually, our classes start at 4:30 a.m. To 6:30 a.m. So we do 2 hours per day for 5 days in a week. Then by the end of the 3 months, we shall have covered the whole content, and now it is just you being ready to do the exam. So our tutorial program has unmatched accessibility because it is 24/7, it is online, and it is accessible. For instance, this here, what you've learned here, you'll be able to access these slides and the recording so that at least you can be able to follow and see what you're supposed to do. So you can also study anytime, anywhere, and it is perfect for those with busy schedules. If you're not able to join the class, you can still have your class later. And mostly, if maybe you're so busy with work, then you can have your class on request. Then we have mobile-friendly platform. We use the Zoom as you're using today. And this is, you have to learn on and go using your smartphone, your tablet, or even your laptop. You can be able to learn on that. Then it is a self-paced learning. So we don't have so rigid timelines, and you progress at your own speed. As much as we want you to join the class at 4:30 a.m., then you can still have the recordings for you to review anytime you're not busy. So we have the comprehensive study materials. We have up-to-date content. And this one covers the latest NCLEX Arena exam formats and guidelines. Actually, for me, I've done this for the last 3 years. So we have interactive question bank guides, thousands of practice questions with detailed rationale. And also we have video lectures and live sessions and getting the content from experts and NCLEX tutors. So sometimes we have to hire tutors so that we can ensure the process is seamless for you. So we also have personalized support, one-on-one support with direct access to experienced NCLEX tutors. You can be able to reach to us anytime. Then we have peer support groups. We join a community of fellow students for motivation and tips, because we have groups that are going to assist you to still learn. And also we have the WhatsApp group for you to be able to interact with each other. So we have a proven success rate, 100% pass rate. Our students consistently achieve outstanding NCLEX pass rate. This is what you've been able to achieve. Even if we've had a student fail, I only had one from the US who was not able to match the time for the classes. So they were not able to attend the classes because of their busy schedule. So the busy schedule, I think the US is very busy, and students are not able to join the class effectively. So they also don't have a lot of time to learn. However, they joined the class again, they took a leave, and they were able to pass the exam. So we've had a great success for all our learners. That one I can say. So this program is also available for international students. So it is you can be able to reach it from anywhere, and it is designed for both local and international nursing graduates, as our program is an online program that all nurses can access from all over the world. So also we have affordable pricing. So the budget is friendly, and it is a high quality NCLEX preparation at a fraction of the cost compared to the competitors. So 2 installment payment is allowed to ensure you don't strain financially. We know that sometimes when you talk about 10 shillings, it can be a lot for so many people. So I can see someone saying that maybe for that is not enough for them. We are going to look at it just in a few moments. So let me finish the slide so that we can go on to the questions. So we have the staffing agencies, and the staffing agencies are there so that they can assist you to be able to go through the process, and they hire you when you're here. So the healthcare professionals sign contracts with healthcare staffing agencies that place them in healthcare facilities where they remain employees of the healthcare staffing agencies and not the facilities. So you remain an employee of the healthcare staffing agencies. So not very nice for me to mention the staffing agencies, and this model is able to offer flexibility and continuous support system. So what are the key advantages of you being affiliated to a staffing agency? They are going to support you throughout the process from the initial registration step to the end, and also they are going to provide you with financial support. For instance, the fees we talked about, the CGFNS, they are going to pay for all that. They like give you a loan so that now when you go to or when you get employed, you'll be able to pay back the loan. So we have the key disadvantages: less stability in employment, inconsistent work schedules, potentially lower pay compared to the direct hire, and then we have lack of familiarity with the workplace and the patient, because they can decide. The staffing agencies can have several hospitals. So you know you're an employer of the staffing agency. So they can decide that you not work in Guru Nanak today, you're going to work in Nairobi Hospital. So that is why we are saying you lack familiarity with the workplace and the patients. So higher administrative burden and possible concerns regarding quality of care due to the frequent staff changes, all of which can impact the nurse's career progression and also the work-life balance. Then we have the direct hire. The direct hire, they usually want those nurses who have already passed their NCLEX exam. So in this model, the healthcare providers are recruited to become direct hire employees of the healthcare organization. While it may seem appealing due to the direct relationship with the employer, it often has less support in adjusting to work and also the life in the US, because they are not going to be with you. Their work is to ensure you're recruited by the hospital, and they leave you with the hospital. But they have very many advantages. You get personalized job matching based on the nurse's skills and experience. So once you take the NCLEX exam independently, you have a better way of being able to get a better pay, and also you can be able to tell them that I don't want to work in Texas, I want to work in Montana, and they're going to get a placement for you in that area where you want to work in. So you also have access to wider range of healthcare facilities, because mostly they have healthcare facilities almost in all the states in the US. And assistant with the entire hiring process, they assist you. They schedule the interview for you with the hospitals, and they assist you through the whole process. They have potential for higher salaries. You can be able to negotiate your salary. If they say they are paying you $30, you can tell them no, let me get better pay, and they are going to definitely give you a better pay. So the opportunity for to secure long-term permanent positions within the suitable healthcare setting, leading to greater career stability and job satisfaction compared to traditional job searches or temporary staffing agencies. Also, we have geographical flexibility. You can be able to work in different locations based on the needs, potentially opening up opportunities for new areas. So the advantages is just they don't give you a lot of support from the time you're contracted by the hospital. So you might find that once you land in the US, you don't have anyone to receive you even in the airport. However, they are going to plan that you're going to this hospital, and once you go there, the hospital is going to organize for you maybe where you're going to, the hotel for you, and all that. So the nurses make a choice that fits their immigration preferences and also the financial capabilities. So I wouldn't say the direct hire is better or bad, or the staffing agency is better or bad, because you might not be having the money that you're going to look at how much you're going to spend as an independent candidate. So if you don't have the money, you will just go the staffing agency way, which is still okay because you are not able to do this because you never had the finances. You can choose either of the programs and still meet your goals and achieve your dreams. So what we know that the staffing agency, they are going to just affiliate you to for 3 years only, and therefore very important. You can still be able to achieve your dream when you're still on the staffing agency. So let me just answer the few questions that we have here. So somebody is asking how much you're going to spend. So I want to get this slide so that at least you understand how much you're going to spend. So let me stop.